Hello, Masha Jam fans, and welcome back to the Road to World Finals podcast. Today, we have the privilege to be joined by the vastly talented and beautiful KEATON Stewart. KEATON, how are we doing today?
So good. I'm so happy to be on your guys' podcast. This is going to be so fun.
I'm certainly looking forward to getting to know you better and everybody watching to get to know you better. So I know that you started out, I don't know if you started any sooner than this, but I know for sure you were on my tour, Arena Series Central in 2019. Was that your first tour, or did you start before that?
So when I was on that tour, I was working as the VIP manager, and that was my first time touring with the company. My first audition with them was in 2018. So I don't know if everyone knows this, but when you audition to be a host for Monster Jam, anyways, this is how it used to be. If you got a call back from your major city audition, they actually flew you to Florida and just put you in a show. They just put you in an event, gave you like one little thing to do just to kind of see how it goes. And for me, that was interviewing Tyler Menninga.
Oh boy.
So that was my first thing ever that I did. And yeah, so then I went on tour with you in 2019 and worked as a backup in 2020 and had the privilege of working and fulfilling someone else's contract who is on a stadium tour. So my experience is kind of all over the place, but I'm super grateful for it. And of course now to be on Arena Series East. So yeah.
The best tour.
And I know, because the podcast is called the Road to World Finals podcast, we have to talk about the World Finals. So 2019, it feels like forever ago. That was the last World Finals. I know you were a pit party reporter, and you were going around and doing that stuff. So talk about how busy that was, those hours of doing the pit party and just having to run back and forth.
Yeah, so I actually had the privilege of working for the BKT, the space that they have. And so I kind of had, I don't know if I had it the best, but some might say, because I got to be there all day and I got to work with all the BKT, people who work for that company. And then we had a gravedigger truck that you were able to get up inside and a couple other things. We had some video games running. So I was able to see the hosts running back and forth. And I'm just there at my little BKT station. Hey guys, I get to stay there. And I then of course got to watch World Finals because my work concluded after the pit party. So I really though was like blown away with how wonderful everyone from BKT was. Everyone from Monster Jam is so amazing. We all know this, but I was just blown out of the water to see that the people from BKT, they're the same as us. I mean, they just go above and beyond. They're so in love with everything that we do, and it's such a great partnership. So I felt really like honored to be able to, my first year, work World Finals and then work for, a sponsorship and partnership that we have, like as important as BKT. But I had a blast. Yeah.
One of the biggest blessings of coming back and having a normal season is so many people like you that are getting to come back and get that call back to come back to Monster Jam. So going into World Finals now, it seems like that there's a strong possibility that we may see you back there. I know Ethan and I already have our tickets ready to go. Going through this season, is that in your mind at all, thinking about World Finals, or are you just focused on one event at a time?
Well, I'm definitely like you guys. I'm thinking about it. I'm definitely thinking about World Finals, and I know I am taking it one event at a time because that's what's going to take us to get there. However, it's on everybody's mind, because that's essentially what we're battling it out for in the end, is who's going to get that automatic bid to World Finals. And I almost just like the drivers, I hope to be there as well. We all have our fingers crossed, and it's something we don't typically find out until the event, gets a little bit closer. But man, I definitely want to be there. And obviously you guys know there's been so many changes. So I think now more than ever, you never know what's going to happen, but now more than ever, we really don't know what World Finals is going to look like as far as who's competing, because it is kind of cool that it's kind of could be anybody's, bid there.
And I'm going to kick it over to Ethan now to talk to you a little bit, because I know he'll see you several times on East, and I know you got a great lineup there. So, Ethan, you can kick it away with some questions.
Um, well, I mean, we have like a list of questions to ask. Just talk about the difference between, now that you're on like a full arena series with Freddie, great dude, by the way. You guys are an awesome duo. Um, talk about what the difference and like the preparations, hosts or you as yourself have to go through going, transitioning from an arena to a stadium.
Mhm.
Or from a stadium to arena, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, so it's funny because I'm the vet, right? Like I'm the veteran host in this situation. And that was like, okay, I feel very good about that. I feel trusted and that's great. But at the same time, we all have that little voice in ourselves that's like, can I do this? Like, this is me, the vet. So I really, was doing as much as I could to prepare. And the layout of the shows, our scripts for us, always changed just a little bit. But going from a stadium, from a host perspective, it's the duties are a little more divided in a stadium, right? Because you have your pit reporter, you had your in the fans, and then of course you had our main male host who would be at the desk most of the time. So you kind of have more people to cover more things. So in an arena, the responsibility feels a little bigger to me, in the sense that you're a pit reporter, you're running the show. It's a little different, right? And that's not to say that hosts and stadiums aren't working their tushies off, because they are, and they have more trucks. You know how it is. You guys know the stadium is
Mm-hmm.
at a bigger scale, but in the arena, there's just so much as a host that you need to be aware of, from basic things to, we have an RF who is this guy from the building, right? Typically, who has a camera connected to a cord. So he can only go so far. But it's your job to get him set up, get set for the shot. Hey, come over here. We're doing a winner interview. Come over here. We're going up on the pod, come out, blah, blah, blah. You also have to keep him safe, right? So you got to make sure he's not running out on the track when he's not supposed to. And Freddie, bless his heart, he's coming into all of this brand new. COVID, it really halted the normal training process, right? What MJU, the training in Florida, a summit that we would have had, all of these things that I got to experience and that some hosts as well, Freddie just didn't have. So it was like he was thrown into this. He has an extensive hosting background, but is very new to Monster Jam. So upon kind of like trying to help him, I really remembered like so much is we do have a lot of responsibility and you are handling a lot of things. And I think that for me is just, you got to really find the balance of that. And, but he killed it for his, first ever event in Monster Jam. And I'm so excited for us to keep moving forward and growing. And what you know how it is probably of once you get an understanding of how those events go, there's just so much more room for creativity and fun. And as those relationships develop on tour, even to see him get kind of close with some of the drivers and them start to joke around with each other. Those are the things that I think make it really fun. But in arenas, you're kind of always dealing with the challenge of the building too. Where can we stand? Where can we not stand? And with COVID, us really trying to be out of the stands, which sucks for our hearts break for that. But, we get it. We'll do what we need to do to be able to be back out there. Yeah, we have a lot on our plates, but I'm so thankful for it.
And you certainly have more events in a weekend on arenas than you do in stadiums. This upcoming weekend, you're headed to Greensboro. So what's the weekend plan? When do you leave? What is your weekend going to look like? What does a normal weekend look like for you?
Yeah, great question. So for hosts, we typically need to be flown in on Thursdays. So we're getting there after the track construction team, but some drivers may arrive before or after us. We get in on Thursdays. In a perfect world, you'd be able to check out the building beforehand. So events are typically going to be the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the most. So we'll have a pit party on Friday, pit party on Saturday. Before COVID, we would sometimes work 5 shows in a weekend. And those were triple threat shows. So looking back, that is like insane that we did that. That seems so crazy. But Yeah, so we'll come in, and what was different last week was we did have a rehearsal, and we don't normally have those. So we'll just come in and, we will do a sound check. All of the hosts will go in the stadium, and it's that time we call it practice. So what we do is the drivers are able to practice their intros where everyone is on the track at the same time. And then we typically do like a first run of racing where the hosts are able to test the sounds. We're able to make sure everything's good. But no, the drivers don't get to go out and practice their moves. We don't get to stay there all night. It's just a quick little check-in, and then we'll go into the events. But I do think this trip, and I could be wrong, but I think we might have morning media. So that's something we get to do. I love morning media, but most people are not happy to get full hair and makeup at 4:30 a.m. or, something, and then have to work the whole day. But it's just so fun because they'll typically ask a host, sometimes a driver, sometimes both, to speak to them. And it's either a local news station, a local radio station, but just to bring publicity to the event. So the most jam-packed weekend you could have would be morning media, pit parties, events, and you're just working all day all night, So this weekend should be really, really great. Obviously, as you guys know, anytime we're in the Carolinas, you just know you're in a spot where people get it. They love it, Monster Jam. But I have family that's going to be able to come, and I know Cody Saucier has family coming, and I think a couple other drivers have family coming as well. And, the drivers always, I think, have that little added pressure when someone's there to really go above and beyond. And I've seen people like take the overall of the event when maybe who don't normally, but because their family's there, they show up, So I'm excited to see how that goes.
You got a great tour. You got Weston on the tour, Cody, who started out strong. Kind of going back a little bit, I want to talk to you about, you were talking earlier about the normal experience driving in that Freddie didn't have. So Monster Jam University, you got to go there, practice, see how the normal show flow would go. What was that experience like being by Tom and all those people who were new into the sport?
Yeah, I would do Monster Jam University over in a heartbeat if I could. It was so, so fun and so valuable. We, as hosts, worked really closely with Scott Douglas, and he was training us, which you couldn't ask for a better host. And Greg Whitaker as well, helping us with that. Those are the OGs. So I'm so happy to learn anything and everything. Constructive criticism, I'm like, give it to me here, But I was hoping that I would get to know Tom Mentz. I was hoping that I would become friends with Tom Mentz, but I was, he's with the drivers, and I wondered am I going to get this opportunity, and I did, and I was so, so happy for that. And he is exactly how he is in his interviews when you guys meet him. I mean, he's just he's like our perfect caricature person of what, all of this history balled up into one could be. And I remember we got these little diplomas from Monster Jam University. They're framed, super cute. And Tom was giving them out, and everybody was just laughing so hard because every time he gave a diploma, he would have something to say. And, he would butcher people's last names, but everyone was laughing. And he said to me, he's like, he picks up my diploma, and he's like, oh, and he's like, this girl, he's like, she's so tiny, but when she gets on the mic, she sounds like she's 10 feet tall or something like that. And it's so cool to have that experience with him. And, I feel really lucky because not all the hosts get that. Not all the hosts get to go to MJU. And there's no audience. So we're in Tom Mentz's giant backyard. We've got this track. We can stop stuff, go over stuff. And then being able to see, drivers who, I was at MJU with Justin Hicks, for example, who, of course, as you guys know, used to drive Pirates Curse. And just to see them first time and then grow throughout the tour because, him and I were later on tour together, that was really cool too. So I mean, I would do it over in a heartbeat if I could. It was such a blast.
So one thing that I certainly want to know, I got 1 year of college left, wanting to come in, AV manager, live hosting, one of those, something in that production realm. So the day that I'm really looking forward to is when I get that first call and the first event. So I want to know from you, what was that like getting the first call and then going and traveling to your first event? What was that weekend like for you?
Yeah, I mean, like I told you guys, having gone to the callback and like getting a taste of what it would be like, because my background is in acting, so I have a degree in theater, and the majority of hosts have hosting backgrounds. It's a whole niche of its own, and obviously because there's so many, different aspects of it. And I, having gotten the taste, I was like, as an actor, I try not to like fall in love with stuff before it's mine, because then you're going through a whole bunch of heartbreak. But I wanted it so bad. And I mean, once I had that taste, like I thought about it every day. And I try not to do that. Like I try to put it out of my head, but I just couldn't. And so at the time it was like, hey, Keaton, we really like you. We don't have a hosting spot open for you. But what we're doing is we're going to put you in this position. We're going to, bring you on tour, and you're going to learn everything you need to know about monster trucks. So it was really awesome, because looking back, I wasn't ready to be a host at that time. I could have done it, but the knowledge that I gained from working backstage, being the VIP manager, that was completely priceless. And I do feel like I have a special, experience because of that. And I was just back there, I was bugging the crew guys. I was doing all this stuff, but getting that phone call at the time, it was Jessica Ferris and Scott Douglas calling me. And I mean, right, anytime they call, it's really not the call, right? I think I blacked out. I don't even remember the call, but it was like my phone light up, with their number. And it's such a surreal experience to be able to go on tour, and you have this like such a crazy family that, it really is like the circus in a sense. Like, we're all together and we're all just here because of some common ground of, yeah, we're all from different places and backgrounds, but we all love to work hard and we all love Monster Jam. And I'm so thankful for it. Truly, I'm so, so thankful.
And you were talking about how everybody comes in from a different background, but we all share that one common thing that we love so much. So what is it about Monster Jam for you that has just made you want to come back and keep doing this?
Yeah, I mean, my family, so I have a lot of family on the East Coast, and growing up, I had one of my cousins, Brooke. She was just like, she loved monster trucks. I mean, she always, that was always her thing. And I remember going to Lebanon Valley, which at the time I don't even think was a Monster Jam show, but
Wow.
yeah, it was a long time ago, but Gravedigger was there. And so I had this like little bit of knowledge of it. But what I love like so, so, so much is and this I'm mad because it does sound so corny, but I promise it, I mean it. It's like the fan base of Monster Jam is unlike any other fan base of any other, even take it to professional sports, take it to theater, take it to films, take it to anything. It's just, I've never ever witnessed such a camaraderie of fans, no matter where you are in the United States or even globally. And the family moments that I witnessed, and you guys know how it is. I mean, everybody, oh, my dad used to bring me to monster trucks. My mom used to take me here. It's always a family, like, trickle down of these. And what it really comes down to is everyone wanting to spend time together. So it's like, it's kind of like you have all that gushy stuff that I love, but then, we're flipping 12,000 pound machines. Yeah. This is like some crazy awesome stuff. Like I always tell people, I don't care who you are, where you're from. This is cool. Like, this is really cool. So I get to perform. I get to have all of the joys of performing and speaking and commanding a space in front of, thousands of people. Then I get to know that we're doing this for a good reason. These are all families coming together. And then on top of that, it's something cool. Like, that shouldn't be allowed. Like, this is cool, It's a combination of things for me. But I will never, forget like all the people that I've met and all the things that I've seen. So yeah, I'm sure it's similar for you guys, but that's definitely what keeps bringing me back.
I mean, yeah, Ethan and I, that's an example. We had never even known each other or anything. And just over social media and through Monster Jam, we're like brothers now. It's crazy.
I
But
still I still don't understand how we met. I really
I
don't.
don't I don't either. But hey, here we are.
I just I will say I vividly remember you somehow getting my Snapchat, and then you
Yeah.
text me and you're like, hey, aren't you going to St. Louis? And I was like, yeah, I am. And you're like, oh, hi, I'm Ryan. I was like, hi, I'm Ethan. And it kind of just like went from there. But I figured I would step in and ask a question. As a host, and drivers and fans, they all have, their favorite memories from either Monster or Monster Truck shows. But for you pretty much see everything that happens because you're on the floor. You see all the action, you see all the fans, whatever, you see everything that's going on. In your perspective, what do you think is your favorite memory with Monster Jam? Either it's with a fan interaction or a driver interaction or just both in general.
Yeah, it actually happened to me when I was, oh, it's a really, really close tie for me. I was working the Rosemont show. I'm from Chicago, so it was awesome for me to be able to work that. And as you guys know, that's a huge market for Monster Jam. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge market. So to be trusted with that and to be able to do that, I worked alongside of Abby Balthazar and John Tapanaro at the time, two, bombshells of hosts. Like they got your back, nothing's gonna happen to you type of deal. But I was working like in the pits, which in Rosemont was this big old tent where we had all of the trucks. It was like negative a million degrees, so freezing. I would have on like all these layers, and I was just back there kind of bugging everybody. The crew's working on a truck, and I'm there like, what are you doing? Like, what is that? What is that called? Trying to figure out all of that. And at this point, we'd become good friends, everybody. Me and Matt Cody were good friends. And I was joking around with him, like, let's get in your truck. Like, is there room for both of us up there? Like, let's both get in there. Like, and so what we ended up doing, we got this camera guy to climb up on this ladder. Both of us were, inside of his truck, and I got to be in there and interview Cody, and he got to show everyone what it looks like inside of a monster truck. And that was live, obviously broadcasted into the arena. And till this day, shameless plug, Scott Douglas mentions this interview. And so that is like one of my favorite memories. It was like an idea that I had that I was like, Cody, let's do this. It worked so well because Cody is such a nice guy. We were good friends. And then it was like this educational piece that actually was pretty good. And I loved that. But working backstage as VIP, I got to see my mom climb inside a monster truck. And I didn't think I'd ever see that. So my parents came over, I got to see it. I have so many memories of being a VIP host and getting to put people inside of a monster truck for their first time was that's like so many of my top favorite memories, whether it's literally a 5-year-old or a 45-year-old. It's so awesome to see them get inside, and like that's something they wondered about for so long and all this stuff. So really, I have so many good memories, but those are the two that come to mind.
So we've been talking a lot about Monster Jam, but I know you coming from a background of being an actress. Is there a certain production on that side of your life that you look back on that you just carries with you forever?
Yeah, I recently, well, not recent. It feels recent. It was before COVID, so I guess it wasn't that recent. But I personally knew the playwrights of the show that I was in. I was cast in this show called Tippy. And the playwright Kayla Bellick had written this show about her own life experiences based off of that. And there was a performance that her family had come to see. And the nature of it was a little bit heavy if it was for the people who were, related to this character and this person. And so there was a performance that we had that they were there. And there's like this crucial moment in the play. And I had like the honor of being one of the lead female and in that show. And it was a small theater, it was a black box theater. So we've got like audience on 3 sides of us. And we were having this like serious moment on stage. And I I had an amazing, co-star with me, and you could just feel the room like inhale to sob. And they were just, to have an audience that was like that immersed with you, that in the moment with you, and then to be that touched by what was going on stage. I just never forget that. Like, I just never forget that feeling. And again, it's always just like being trusted with something that I feel like is really important to someone. And I don't know, I carry that with me.
And I don't think it really matters whether you're acting or you're driving a monster truck. If there are people that are just so invested into what you're doing, what you're creating, it's just a different, real feeling, I feel. Ethan, is there anything that you wanted to ask Keaton on top of what I've said? 'Cause I feel like I've been rambling on forever.
No, I've just been letting you taking the reins. You're on a tour with, I would say, a ton of veterans. Well, except for Weston, but how's it feel, being back, but actually like having your own tour? You can call it your tour without, switching around tours and be like, oh yeah, I'm back. Like, no, you can be like, this is my tour. And with all the shows that East has, I think East has the most shows on tour. I think. As a host, you get to travel to like all these new places. You get to try all these cool food. You just get to see different kinds of people. And what is that like for you as a host, and so who gets to travel and call that your job?
Yeah. You're so right, because it is so different than being a backup host, because as much as I loved that, you never get to plant your feet, and it's always new. Like, whenever you're going in, it's new to you no matter what. And when we were in the thick of the pandemic and there were no performance opportunities for anyone, I really knew that I was like, if I get the chance to do Monster Jam again, I'm doing it on my own terms. Like, and I'm just, and I meant that for myself. And I will know what I have now when I have it. And it's not that I didn't before, but I think for everyone, the pandemic puts so much into perspective. And for me, it was like, I do know exactly what I want. And Monster Jam was something I worked really hard to do, to get better at, to advance, and become better. And I knew that if I was given that opportunity again, that I would take no second of it for granted, So this does mean so, so much to me. And things that happened to me previously where I was offered a full-time contract, I wasn't able to take it. So just having that really, really, really means the most to me, because I knew how badly I wanted it. Like, I knew how badly my past self wanted this. And I just kind of made a promise to myself that I'm going to soak it all in. I'm going to commit myself. I'm going to try to, I'm going home and I'm watching Monster Jam. I'm going home and I'm looking up things. I'm really trying to further educate myself to get the absolute most out of this experience, because I'm so, so thankful for it. And to have my own tour is just so awesome. I mean, I was with you guys watching this lineup, right? Watching this lineup get changed. And at one point, I think when it was on NBC, we had some like 3 TBAs, maybe more. And I was with you on the edge of my seat, like, where's this going to go? And I feel so lucky to have the tour I have. I feel so lucky to be working with the drivers I'm working with. And the fact that I genuinely feel this competition is a good competition. We have some really, really good competitors. So that just makes it way more fun, And on my AV side, I have Andrew Pellegrini. I've got Phil. I've got these like major players that I know and love so much. And I just feel like we're completely stacked. Like, I feel so happy if someone comes to one of our events, because like, these are great events. And I'm sure that everyone feels that way about their tour, but I'm pretty confident about mine as well, So I'm so happy. And to be able to even connect with you guys and do stuff like this is all part of it. And I feel so lucky. I really do.
Well, before we let you go, I got to ask. So when you got the mic in your hand, you're getting ready to go, you're getting ready to do a show, what is the one competition that you're most looking forward to seeing during the event, or call, I guess?
Okay. It's definitely two-wheel skills.
Yep,
Great.
me too.
Skills
Yep.
challenge. And
in arenas, yes.
and I don't know, most of the time now I'm in the VOM. So like I'm in that little tunnel, which is usually the opposite tunnel where the trucks are coming, right? For safety and things like that. I don't know if you guys caught footage of our two-wheel skills. It would have been on Saturday or Sunday.
Are you gonna bring up Weston's little save that he had? Yeah, that was Sunday. That was insane.
Okay. I don't know who has that on video. I wish I did because I was in the VOM, like straight on with his truck. And
yeah, Monster Jam posted on their Instagram. I mean, it's like the video board footage, so it's like really stretched out, but they have it on their Instagram. Yeah, great shot too.
We were in such an old building, and the cameras are like from 2002, but oh my God, you don't even need a good camera because I'm always really impressed, but there's no way that he should have been able to save that. It shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have, I'm like a nervous mom when I watch them go, I'm like, oh, like I get so nervous for them, not because of their safety, but because I can't believe what they're doing. And, he was upside down. He was rolled. I hear them in my ear preparing to like go, okay, get ready. We got to go save him. The host, get ready to fill all these things. Nope. He just flipped back over.
He's like, he just drives right out of it.
And then my job now is to like, first of all, not scream into the microphone, but also everyone is so excited that everyone's up on their feet screaming, hollering. And then I get the call, there's 10 seconds left, for people to submit their scores. So I think everyone's so excited, they're not on their phones. They're living in the moment.
They're also excited they forgot to score.
Exactly. But I see the things that shock me the most are typically in the Great Clips, Two-Wheel Skills Challenge. I just, and then to think about their visibility, the fact that sometimes they can't even, they're just going off of how they know. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could do that in another life, I guess.
I think also, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Ryan, but I think the one thing that I really like about, specifically, your tour and then, the tour that's coming to Evansville, because I'll be seeing you guys a couple times this year, but you have the drivers that are on the specific tour, they all have like, it seems like they all have like their own style of driving, like with the Great Clip Skills Challenge or the Two-Wheel Skills Challenge, all six of like the official confirmed drivers on that tour, it seems like they all just have different, driving styles and different moves that they want to do. I think that's what makes it different too. I mean, yes, everyone tries to, do the newly innovated, skills moves now with like the bicycles and the moonwalks and stuff, but everyone is like, it seems like everyone each weekend is trying to step it up and try and, do something different. And that's what I really like about our tour because everyone's so different because you're not going to see the exact same move, multiple times. You're going to see different stuff.
It certainly is a tour that you're going to enjoy all year, watching Weston grow in his career and see if these veteran drivers can catch him. But thank you so much, Keaton, for joining us on this podcast. It was so great to get to know you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you continue on your tour, and hopefully we will see you at World Finals 21. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and we will see you guys next time.